Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another session of Coach Steele's Finance Training. Happy to have you tuning in on today. Looking forward to working with everyone on today as we talk about stocks, crypto, and real estate to hedge against inflation. And as you stay tuned, you'll see where I'm going with it. But of course, I am Coach Steele, and I'm happy to have you here at Coach Steele's Finance Training. And what I want you all to do as I go live today, make sure you share this feed as you listen in, comment, greet me, tell me hello. I want to talk to you on today, but I don't want it to be a one-way conversation. I want us to share information as we communicate on today. So feel free to share your thoughts and your comments on today as we are live. And of course, I am live on Facebook and I am live on YouTube. So however you get it in, however you stay connected with me, make sure you communicate on either platforms. I can see the messages on any platform that you're on, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. So good morning to you, Mr. Tony Sherman. Happy to have you tuning in on today. And we're going to talk about the concept and the idea of hedging against inflation. And so this is something interesting because there's multiple ways to hedge against inflation. There's ways to be aggressive with it. There's ways to be a little more passive with the process. But I don't want to stay on too long today. Hopefully we can knock this out in 30 minutes. We'll see what happens. So talking about three subjects, whether it's stocks, whether it's cryptocurrency, or whether it's real estate to hedge against inflation, the pros and cons and the intricacies of it. So to get started, when we look at stocks, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Everyone go to Coach Steele's Finance Training and subscribe. Appreciate the support. And I appreciate you subscribing in advance. It means a whole lot as we grow the YouTube channel out and we grow out this community. We are a team that are going to come together and continue to talk about financial literacy and the conversation of financial literacy. So when we look at stocks, I was just looking at the stock market the other day. Now, we already know in America, because of all of the legal, political things going on, we saw that there were tariffs implemented, that, being put in place. We saw people being unsure about the stock market, people losing their jobs. And so we saw a dip in the stock market, and it becomes very scary for a lot of people if they don't know how to handle situations like that. So let's talk about that. When there's a dip in the stock market, some people will panic and some people will get excited. Why? Because everyone should understand the concept of buy low, sell high. So if there's a dip in the stock market, some people who have cash, some people who have who can creatively leverage certain things and have access to income, have access to currency, they know that there's an opportunity to buy low and sell high. So as you're tuning in on today, make sure you type in buy low, sell high, because that's a big opportunity right there to be able to dive in to that stock market as these prices dip down, as these share values dip down, and be able to buy low and sell high long term. So if you're a young person, you may be super excited about this. If you have a 401k, a TSP, an IRA, a 457, you name it. So when the stock market takes hits like this, you have to look at it from the point of view of an investor. Now, if I was getting ready to retire in 2 months, this would probably bother me a little bit. If I was older, I would look to diversify my portfolio and put my retirement income in some safe places. And as we're talking on today to Coach Steele's Finance Training, just remember, always do your own due diligence, do your research. Don't just take my word for things. Make sure you do your homework to figure out what is best for you and what's in your best interest. So on today, as we talk about cryptocurrency, real estate, and the stock market to hedge against inflation and other opportunities to hedge against inflation, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you do to hedge against inflation? What are some of the things you do to protect the spending power of your money and the value and the power of your dollar? What are some of the things that you do? So When we look at the stock market, right, we want to buy low and sell high with opportunities like this. This is a great opportunity to secure the bag long term. Some people want to hit a home run and get rich quick, but I wouldn't look at it like this. And so, one of the best things you can do, and you can type this in, and as you type things in, this is going to help you with your financial literacy education. So, it's like taking notes digitally for yourself and for your memory. When it comes to opportunities like this, and we see a dip in the market, we definitely want to buy some shares if you're not already what we call DCA. DCA. In the comment section, just type in DCA. Does anyone know what DCA means? DCA means dollar cost averaging. So you always want a DCA, dollar cost average, for the long haul. When you DCA, it's not because you're trying to get rich quick. It's not because you think you'll be a millionaire overnight, which is nothing wrong with thinking that. But you want a dollar cost average in situations like this also. Once again, if you're older and you're getting ready to retire, this may be a little frustrating for you. But sometimes experts say it usually takes like 4 to 6 months for the market to correct itself. So be on the lookout for that. But most importantly, protect your dollar, protect the value of your money as we experience these dips. And I wanted to show you all something in regards to the S&P 500 that I thought was very interesting and we should look at when we talk about hedging against inflation. And so if you're just tuning in on today to Coach Steele's Finance Training, we're talking about the stock market, cryptocurrency, and real estate, and how to hedge against inflation, how to keep the spending power of your dollar, how to keep the value and the power of your dollar strong as we go through these ups and downs in this market. So let's see here if I can show you what I wanted you to see. Let's see. This might be it right here. Oh, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted you to see. We're going to enlarge it. So what we're looking at right here is the S&P 500. And so when we look at the S&P 500 right now, we see it is at $5,638.94. Now, this is pretty interesting for a number of reasons, guys. And of course, we've heard the stats about how the S&P 500 over, the past, I don't know how many, 10, 20 years has averaged, about, I guess 10%. And so let's see here. This is what I want to show you about the S&P 500. Right now, we see it at $5,638. But let's look at it from a month ago. So when we click on a month ago and we look at the value of it, we see that there's a lot of red and it's dipped down. And so when we see that, and we go to February 19th, it was at $6,105. Now it's at $5,600. But what was more interesting was when I click on the 5-year. Oh my goodness. Look at this. When we look at March 2020, this is so interesting. March 2020, if most of you remember, that's when it was announced that, around March 2020 was around when it was announced that there was a pandemic and we had all kind of problems. There was a slight dip in the market. But we see S&P 500, the value was $2,304. $2,304. We get to 2021, it's at 4,500, almost 4,600. Dips back down. Follow me as we go through this. And of course, now we see today, last month, it was at 6,000. So the S&P 500 has more than doubled in the past 5 years. Imagine if you would have had some money in the S&P 500 and it has more than doubled. Imagine putting 10,000 in there and now it's 20,000. Imagine putting 40,000 and now it's 80,000. And so we see the value has increased, which is crazy. That's of course good for someone who has been investing in it. But I guess that's the benefit of why people say to dollar cost average. Good morning to you, Mr. Scott. Happy to have you tuning in today as we talk about uh, hedging against inflation through using stocks, crypto, and real estate. And as you see that example with the S&P 500, that is an amazing opportunity right there. We look at the past 5 years of hedging against inflation and keeping the value of your dollar strong. That looked like it outpaced inflation. And so that's very good opportunity there to be able to invest in something like that, the S&P 500, if it continues to perform. So even though we see a dip right now, it's looking like, in a couple months or whatever, when things get straightened out, it's possible to make some long-term profits there. So that looks pretty cool. Once again, do your own research. Same thing with crypto. Crypto is very, very interesting. And I'm going to show you all a quick chart on the cryptocurrency too. What it looks like now versus what it looked like about a month ago. All right, let me share my screen again. Let's go to this crypto bubble. All right, so I'm going to enlarge this for you all as well. And one thing I will say before I dive deep into, about this crypto is about the stocks. When you're trying to hedge against inflation with stocks, I like to hedge against inflation with stocks with dividend stocks. So not only is the value of my dollar increasing, but also I can get paid. Because when you invest in dividend stocks, you can get paid monthly, you can get paid quarterly. So there's a lot of benefits there when you hedge against inflation with dividend stocks. All right, so let's look at cryptocurrency, ladies and gentlemen. We see this chart, this video here, this site with all these different cryptocurrencies and these bubbles. And we see a lot more green now than we saw lately. But time is going by and some of these stocks, some of these cryptos are recovering. So we see Hex, we see XLM, we see Atom. Let's see what else we got on here. We see Dogecoin over here on the far right. And we got XRP over here on the far left. What else do we have in here that is catching our attention when it comes to crypto? We see Solana down here on the far left. But as you see, the crypto is slowly recovering. It took a huge hit as well over the past few weeks. And so let's look at crypto a week ago. Look at these colors changing. We see a lot more red just a week ago. And then let's look at it a month ago. Let's see. I have to wait for it to update. But the point is, crypto took a huge hit. And when we look at cryptocurrency, a lot of people like to use crypto to hedge against inflation. And you have to be very careful with crypto because cryptocurrency can be very, very volatile. And because it can be very, very volatile, you have to know what you're doing and why. Don't just dive into cryptocurrency and thinking that, if I just dive into here, I can get rich very, very fast. I can make some quick money. And it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way at all. You have to be very, very patient when it comes to crypto. There we go, about a month ago. Everything red, just red all over. And so because of that, you have to understand, even with crypto, you have to have a long-term investing mindset and also have a DCA mindset. What does DCA stand for? Dollar cost averaging over a long period of time. Is it possible to invest in some crypto and potentially make thousands of dollars? Yes, it is possible. When you look down here about a month ago, you can see the Trump coin down here, negative 27.3%. A lot of people made money off of that, but now it's in the red. So people who jumped in late, are getting hit. So as we look at this, we see a month ago, it dipped down, but then when we look now, more recent, things are back in the green. So if you understand the concept of dollar cost averaging and investing in stable coins, good cryptocurrency, then maybe you won't lose money. But once again, you're still taking a chance when it comes to cryptocurrency, and depending what country you're in and what the laws and rules are and everything else, tax implications. You want to do research on all those things and know why you're investing. For me, I like to be I like to diversify my portfolio, whether it's stocks, whether it's crypto, whether it's real estate. We see Shiba Inu down here. Let me see if I'm moving it up. There we go. We see SHIB right there. So you'll see some of the crypto coins and can track their progress that they're making, whether it's a year ago, a month ago, an hour ago, all that good stuff in here. So if you ever have, you're ever wondering and trying to do some research on whether or not certain cryptocurrency is doing well or not, you can also type that information in here so you can do your homework. We see Bitcoin right now is at $84,264. We know it was much higher than that, more recent, the past 2 months ago or something like that. It was booming and everyone was excited. But people who jumped in on that train at the last second, that bought it when it was high, and now the value is at 84,000. That means they lost a lot of money. Let's see, it's March 15th. All right, so let's leave crypto alone, and I'm going to go to talking about real estate. Now, one thing about real estate, I think it's a great way to hedge against inflation for a number of reasons. Same reason as I like dividend stocks, because you can hedge against inflation and at the same time get paid in the process. Sometimes investing in cryptocurrency or real estate or stock market, you have to wait till later to receive the compensation and the money from it. And so with real estate, I can invest in real estate but get paid monthly off of long-term rentals while securing and hedging against inflation and keeping the power of my dollar strong, but also making money because as a tenant pays down the property, I'm getting equity in the property and the property is increasing in value. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I like to use real estate to hedge against inflation, of course, I've named a few reasons already, but keep in mind that there's also tax benefits. So real estate is one of the best ways to hedge against inflation. Out of all of the different ways to hedge against inflation, of course, you can do commodities, you can invest in gold, silver, different commodities, oil, but real estate has so many different touch points of benefits when it comes to hedging against inflation. Long-term rental, you get paid monthly, right? That's one. Two, you're getting equity in the house because the tenant, as you receive their payments, you're applying a certain portion of that payment to the balance of the loan, which is now bringing the balance down, increasing the equity that you have access to in that property. So that's number two. And three, the value of that property, real estate in America, increases in value. So if you do sell, you have a larger profit. Meanwhile, you're receiving monthly rental income. And you're receiving monthly rental income. Like I said, portion of it goes to pay any overhead or expenses. The rest of that profit comes to you. So you're hedging against inflation. You're receiving pay for hedging against inflation. Real estate is a great way to get compensated for hedging against inflation. Real estate will pay you for being financially responsible. I think that's amazing. And like I said, the last way is the tax write-offs, the tax shelter that real estate is and the benefits of it. And if you're interested in getting and becoming a part of a good real estate program, I can connect you with a good real estate coach. Just let me know if that's something you're interested in, and you can have a conversation with them and see if that is a good match or a good pair to marry up with you so you can grow your real estate education. But I just think that's fascinating. I talked about stocks and I talked about cryptocurrency. Investing in the stock market, you can. It's a good tax shelter if you're doing it out of your 9 to 5, because whatever is going to your 401k, you're not being taxed on it now, and it's growing non-tax right now, but later on it will. Once you start receiving distributions, and so crypto, it's pretty cool too, but it doesn't really have the tax shelters, so to speak, unless you're investing in crypto through like a self-directed Roth IRA. But when it comes to real estate, in the moment, real estate is a bad boy. If you're listening in on today in the comment section, just I know it's a lot to write, but you can write real estate is a bad boy. I just named real estate a boy. It may be a girl. I don't know. But either way, real estate is bad. You got to think about that. Think about everything I just mentioned. Real estate hedging against inflation. And some people are intimidated by real estate, and you shouldn't be, because there are easy ways to get into real estate, whether it's wholesaling, whether it's tax lien auctions. You don't need a lot of money to get into real estate. Whether you buy a starter house, whether it's your first home and you get into real estate and you buy your first home, guess what? You have just entered into real estate. Because when it comes to buying your first home, there are programs out there and grants where there's no money down for first-time home buyers. Or there's other grants out there that will give you down payment assistance. So don't be intimidated by diving into real estate. Don't be intimidated at all. Yes, Mr. Timothy Scott. Real estate is a bad boy. That thing, it has multiple weapons, financial weapons that help you, that benefit you. And so you all have to remember that. Don't be intimidated by real estate, but use it to your advantage. Real estate, long-term rentals. What did I tell you all? Long-term real estate. One, you receive monthly profits, compensation, because the tenant is going to pay you rent every single month. And so a portion of that payment, if there is a balance on the real estate, some people may buy it in cash. Some people may not have a real estate balance. Some people may have inherited the real estate. But let's say it is, you got to service that loan. And so there's some financing done. You'll take a portion of that rent and you'll pay towards the balance of that loan. Guess what? The tenant has now given you money to pay down the balance of that loan, which gives you access to the equity in that property. If you ever sell it, then you make money back, and you're making money back that you didn't even pay down on that loan, in a sense, with your money. Well, it is your money because the tenant gave to you, but you're making a larger profit, and all you did was put a small portion down. And I'm going to add something in here. I know I've named about 4 or 5 things and the benefits of real estate. I'm going to add something on the back end too. So there's access to equity. It's growing in equity. You're going to get a larger profit than what you put down when you sell it. Also, like I said, there's tax shelters, there's tax benefits to real estate investing as well. There's a lot more taxes and things you can write off now as well, especially when it comes to the business of the things that you invested in with that real estate. If you have to buy a lawnmower for that real estate property because you have to cut the grass, guess what? You can write that off as well. If you have to travel to that property in that area for certain things concerning that stuff. But once again, check with your tax advisor, CPA, whoever does your taxes. Do your due diligence and make sure everything that I'm saying is true. So don't just take my word for it. But there's a lot of benefits. Monthly income from the real estate, access to equity, larger profit margin because the tenant is paying the property down, tax shelters. And also keep in mind, one of the things I didn't mention is as you have that real estate, as you have that investment, just know usually rent goes up, not down. And so your profit margins are going to increase annually because the rent constantly goes up. And so one thing I want you all to understand today is, especially those that are intimidated about real estate, and if you're tuning in on today to Coach Steele's Finance Training, make sure you share the live with other people so that we can share the conversation about financial literacy in our community here at Coach Steele's Finance Training. We want everyone to come be a part of the team as we excel with financial literacy. Some of you that are intimidated by real estate, let's do a hypothetical. Let's say you say, well, I don't have enough money to buy an investment property. Okay, well, how long would it take you to get enough money to do a down payment on an investment property, a small property? Let's say it takes someone 4 years, which it probably won't, but let's say it takes you 4 years to save up the money to buy your first property. And after you buy that first property, you take 4 years to save up, I don't know, $15,000-$20,000. So you can make a down payment on a property. When you do that, after those 4 years, and let's say that property is yielding you like $500 a month now. After you pay for everything, you are putting in your pocket $500 a month. Well, if it took you 4 years to get a property to make $500 a month, I want you all to think about this. How long is it going to take for you to do that again? If you took 4 years to get the first property, but now you're making $500 a month, then how long is it going to take for the second property? Keep in mind what I said. Now you have rental income. You're making $500 a month. That property, the equity is growing in it. But here's the important part. Remember I said the tax benefits, the tax shelters? Now you got an extra $500 a month that you're making. It's not going to take 4 years to get your second property. And because you got a tax shelter here, because there's tax benefits, now you are also going to be able to save more money in taxes. You're going to be able to save way more money in taxes because of this investment property. So now it won't take 4 years. It might only take 2 years for your second property. So let's say now after 6 years, you have 2 rental properties. And now those 2 rental properties are making you $500. That's $1,000 a month. Do you see how in 6 years, and this is extreme because you can have more than 2 properties in 6 years. Let's say you take the long route and you have 2 rental properties in 6 years, and they're yielding $1,000 a month in profit. That $1,000 is already outpacing whatever retirement income you were putting away for the past 30 years investing in the stock market. You're already ahead of schedule of whatever your retirement is going to pay you monthly. And you're almost at a point where you're going to have that $1,000 a month that's coming in is almost more than the Social Security check that you're waiting on too. Do you see how it is possible to hedge against inflation and protect yourself long-term down the road with real estate better than your retirement account and or Social Security? Now think about this. If you took 4 years for the first property, 2 years for the second, now you got $1,000 a month coming in and you got 2 properties to help as tax shelters to save more money monthly that you can write off so Uncle Sam can't take as much of your 9-to-5 income. Think about this, guys. Now, $1,000 a month, 2 tax shelters. It's not going to take 4 years or 2 years for the third property. It might only take 1 year to save up that $15,000 to $20,000 for that third property. Plus, you got equity growing in both properties that you have access to. If that's the case and you have access, depending on how you finance it, you may not need to wait long at all to get access to equity and buy that third property. But let's just say you wait another year. We did 6 years, 4 years for the first property, 2 for the second property, 1 year for the third property. So now we got 10 years. 10 years go by, you have 3 properties. All 3 properties are making you $1,000 a month. I'm sorry, $500 a month in profit. That's if rent doesn't go up over those 10 years. That's if rent stays the same. That's $1,500 in passive income. Now, those 3 properties of $1,500 and the rent didn't go up for 10 years are now giving you more money than a Social Security check that you were waiting on. Guys, this is very, very powerful. And that's why I said real estate is great, a great tool to hedge against inflation. I like the stock market. I love dividend stocks. I like crypto, but real estate brings so many other opportunities at your door to be creative and put things in your control to hedge against inflation and prepare you for retirement. So if you're just tuning in now to Coach Steele's Finance Training, we're talking about how to hedge against inflation. And if you missed a lot of it, you can go back and watch it. It'll be saved on the YouTube channel, Coach Steele's Finance Training. But we're talking about how beautiful it is. And good morning to you, Mickey, David, and also good morning to you, Cheryl, as well. Happy to have you tuning in. In real estate, we're talking about dollar cost averaging, not real estate, through stocks and cryptocurrency. We're talking about dollar cost averaging. And I want to hear your thoughts today, your comments, your concerns. How do you hedge against inflation? What are some of the things that you do? Of course, you can put your money in a high yield interest savings account. If you have an emergency fund sitting in a checking account or a savings account, go in my description box, click on the link, set up a high yield interest savings account making about 3.8% interest. If you put, I believe, at least $50 in that account within the first 14 days, they'll give you $25. If you move your direct deposits there, and in the first 25 days, I believe if you have at least $1,000 going in there, $5,000 going in there, they will give you an extra $300. So it's possible to make an extra free $325. It's free money. Take it. If you don't want to keep the account and make the high yield, then eventually you can just move your money back out. But get the $325. Another creative way to hedge against inflation. I'm out here giving free game on today, guys. This is great, valuable information that everybody should take in and take serious on today as we talk about how to hedge against inflation. We see what's going on in America. People are losing jobs, and you have to know how to balance that out. But I just gave a great example. So if someone would have even lost their job, if they would have hedged against inflation through real estate, like I showed you with those 3 properties, you're making $500 a month off all 3, and you acquired them in that 10-year time frame, which you can acquire way more than 3 properties in 10 years. This is being extremely conservative, but showing you how easy it is to go through that process. And if that person, that example that I named, if they're making $500 off of each property, that's $1,500, right? So that's more than the Social Security check. It's going head to head with it, right? And then those properties are, the rent is being increased probably annually or every other year. So now that $1,500, when we talk about a 10-year time frame, might be $2,000 a month or $2,500 a month. Most importantly, that first property you bought, what is the value of it now? How much equity is there? How many more down payments do you have with that equity? Or you could just technically sell that house, and whatever profits is there, whether it's $100,000 profit, you can potentially put it in something else safe where you can make 10% annually on it if you wanted to transition out of the real estate. So you have a lot of opportunities, and the equity in those properties are probably going to outpace and be much more than whatever you were able to put in your retirement. And I'm not saying not to do a 401k or an IRA or a TSP or a self-directed Roth IRA. Do all of those things, but also diversify your portfolio and do real estate as well. So as you're tuning in today on Coach Steele's Finance Training, I am happy to talk to you all today about hedging against inflation through stocks, through crypto, through commodities, through real estate. I'm here in Orlando, Florida this weekend. I'm excited. I am going to SeaWorld as soon as I get off with you all. I'm going to SeaWorld, and I'm excited. If anyone has any tips in Orlando about good restaurants to eat here or what to do at SeaWorld, put it in the comment section. Help a brother out. I'm out here. I want to know where to go, what to do. Maybe there's some things that I couldn't find on Google that you all can share with me. That'll be nice to do while I'm here in Orlando enjoying SeaWorld on today. And I'm probably going to eat a lot, so I'm going to have to try to find a way to exercise later tonight or early tomorrow morning. So I'm excited about being here in Orlando. And of course, with me being on vacation, I found a way to creatively make my hotel room. I'm on here at the resort. I'm here, was able to make that completely free. So I always talk to you all about budgeting, make sure your finances are on point. And that's something we want to do here at Coach Steele's Finance Training. We want to tighten up our budget every month, examine where we are to make sure that we reach our financial goals in 2025. Okay, Cheryl said BJ's Brew House is good eats. Okay, BJ's Brew House. I'm about to Google that and look it up. So I definitely appreciate that advice, Cheryl. She's always on the road, so she knows all the nooks and crannies and the good places all over because she's always on the highway. So thank you for that advice. Guys, like I said, I'm here at SeaWorld. I'm excited. I did not want to miss my Saturday morning live talking about financial literacy. We've been going strong for like 30, 39 weeks in a row, and I was not going to break the streak just because I'm in Orlando. We got to keep it going. And so we got to fade the streaks as we're here in Coach Steele's Finance Training on today. You all remember, and go back and look at some of the stuff I showed you about the S&P 500. The fact that in 2020 it was around 2,400, and now in 2025 it got as high as $6,100. Man, like what is it going to be at 5 years from now? And so we have to hedge against inflation. We have to take it serious, but we have to know what we're doing and why. So if you have retirement accounts, you need to find out, what do they have my money invested in? Is it diversified? Is it aggressive? Is it conservative? You know, when you go to places to eat, you know, if you get a medium, a large, a latte, or all that different stuff, you know that. You need to know what your money is too. What is it invested in? Is it aggressive or not? Depending on your age, ask questions, get advice so you'll know what your money is doing. That's working for your benefit. That's hedging against inflation. That's protecting you, because there's so many things that are coming up that are going on. And I want you all to be in a strong position. There's so many other avenues where you can invest your money in, and it can grow in a good place. And I do have some of those in my description box. You can see some different opportunities to invest, and there's free education in there as well in those description boxes. I have one, it's like 6 mini investment courses in the description box. So when I get off, feel free to dive onto those, click those links, find out that information. If you're interested in paying off your mortgage at an accelerated rate, then connect with me, leave me a message. We can talk about that as well. But once again, I thank everybody for tuning in on today. I'm going to do another video about the benefits of real estate and hedging against inflation. And remember this, real estate as an asset pays you to hedge against inflation. And it doesn't pay you 20 years from now, 10 years from now. You can start getting paid from real estate immediately for hedging against inflation. Some of these other assets, you have to wait a little while longer to be able to get it on the back end. But once again, I'm getting ready to go to SeaWorld. You all have a blessed Saturday. And continue to tune in to Coach Steele's Finance Training. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. All you have to do is type in Coach Steele's Finance Training and hit the subscribe button. We're around 420 subscribers right now, and we're almost at 500. We need to get to that 500. Let's get there. When we get there, of course, I'm going to do another money giveaway.